Hello YouTube! In today's video I'll show you how I caught a few fish while spearfishing this week. The weather was cloudy with a light southerly wind, but I decided to give it a shot anyway. I had just replaced the wishbone on my 18mm band, and when I loaded the speargun everything felt solid. This time I was wearing my full gear, and I also brought my dive watch to monitor my safety intervals. A golden grey mullet swam by, so I got closer and took the shot. It was just a bit too far and I missed. Then I set up an ambush on this rocky terrain at around 8 meters deep. It looked pretty empty at first, so I started calling for a bit. The terrain here is very uneven and stepped, so fish can appear from almost any direction. Two large golden grey mullets swam into view, and I aimed at the closer one. At the very last moment, a shoal of striped seabream rushed past, so I quickly switched targets and shot the biggest one. I made that decision in a split second because I knew I'd probably see those mullets again, but striped seabreams are much more cautious. The shot landed a little low, so I had to be careful not to tear the skin or I could lose the fish. I reloaded and continued on. I set up another ambush in the shallows, and this mullet passed by, so I took the shot. I missed again, so it was time to reload once more. Then I spotted a shoal of salpas with a Gilthead Seabream mixed in. I slowly sneaked closer and waited for the perfect moment. The shot was perfect, right through the middle, and the fish was mine. I reloaded and started feeling thirsty, which is why you should always keep some water on your buoy to stay hydrated. I took a quick sip, felt refreshed, and continued diving. A little later I came across the mullets again, probably the same ones I said I'd see again, and took another shot. They were still too far away, so I missed once again, reloaded and moved on. I came across this tiny male scorpionfish. It's just the right size to accidentally step on barefoot, and trust me, that's something you definitely want to avoid. I dropped down for another ambush at around 10 meters. The terrain here is very steep with a mix of shallow and deep sections, so you always have to expect something from every direction. Dantecs usually patrol the deeper water, while sea bass tend to cruise the shallows, so I had to keep watching both sides. That's not ideal because during an ambush we usually want to stay as still as possible. After waiting for a while, I still hadn't seen anything, so I started calling again. Another minute passed without any action, so I decided to surface. While ascending, a large shoal of mackerel suddenly flew by, so I took a shot at the closest one. These fish are very popular among rod fishermen and are well known for fighting hard all the way to the end. They are quite rare in spearfishing, and this was actually my first one. It kind of reminds me of an Atlantic bonito, which makes sense since both are pelagic fish. I returned to the shallows and continued sneaking around. Then the sea bass came in perfectly, so I took the shot. I'm pretty sure even Stevie Wonder could have hit that sea bass, but somehow I still managed to miss. At this point I already had 3 beautiful fish and the sun was beginning to set, so it was time to head home and prepare dinner. I cut some potatoes into chunks and boiled them for about 10 minutes until they softened. Then I threw the fish onto the grill. You really can't go wrong with that. After boiling, I finished the potatoes in the oven to give them a nice crispy finish. As soon as I sat down to eat, I immediately had a few candidates who clearly wanted some fish too. Of course, I had to pay the cat tax. After that, dinner was absolutely delicious. The next day, I returned the remains back into the sea to complete the natural cycle. That's all for today's video. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe as it helps the algorithm and ensures you won't miss out on the future content. Thanks for watching and stay safe while diving.